We're going to talk about the Undercover Predator, and there's 3 phases that we need to be familiar with. An Undercover Predator is somebody that you probably know. It might not be somebody that you know really well, but it might just be a friend of a friend. So if like I target you, like, okay, how am I going to get to know this person? It's usually safer if I know somebody that you know, then that can be my in. Right? So the first thing that they do is they try and intrude somewhere and find a way to get to you, right? And the second phase is desensitization. They usually don't come right up to you and try and attack you, right? But they try because they first need to work their way in. Yeah.
After he gets used to my presence, I come in, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've known this person, maybe met him a couple times now. Maybe we're in a scenario where there's a lot of people around or whatever, or even if we're alone, going to get some coffee or something, and he may not feel comfortable with it, and I'm going to try and test that. Come in and be like, hey, how's your day going?
And so
Stuff like
all
that.
of a sudden, I'm like, this is kind of creeping me out. Like this person, I don't know him that well enough to be doing this, right? So they're testing the waters, and then they're seeing if you don't react to that, or if you don't, say that that's not acceptable, then things will just continue to get worse.
I haven't seen maybe a couple days.
Excuse me, your hand is on my shoulder. I don't like that. Take it off.
Sorry, I'm just being friendly, man.
All right. I don't know you that well.
It's okay, that's cool, cool. I respect that.
I even made a mistake because I said, excuse me, right? Sometimes we say please, right? Those are words that you don't need to say when something is not right.
How's it going? I haven't seen you in a couple of days. You been all right?
Your arm is on my shoulder. Take it off.
All right, man. Sorry, sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable.
That drill is designed to help us realize that we have the right to speak up when we don't feel good about something. And we don't need to be polite about things. And we don't need to be rude either, but we need to be very clear about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So name it. First thing you do is identify. So he could grab my hand, right? You're like, your hand is on my hand. I don't like that. Take it off. So
Sorry.
I name it. So I identify what it is. I tame it. He removes it, and then I change the behavior. If you can do that 99% of the time will prevent him from feeling like I'm a target. Right, he'll move on to someone that's easier of a target. So let's try that. Go ahead and pair up with someone.
Your hand is on my shoulder. I don't like it. Take it off.
Hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a couple of days. You been all right?
Your hand's on my shoulder. Take it off.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Just don't know you that well.
I understand.
Look me in the eye.
Oh, okay.
Get ready.
Okay. Your arm is around my shoulder. I don't like that. Take it off.
In a few days.
Sorry.
The first time she did it, and we did this, she kind of looked at the hand as she talked, and then the second time we did it, she looked at me, and it felt like much more threatening to me for her to look me in the eye and be like, take it off. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Like,
Yes,
is that
absolutely.
to look me in the eye? Okay, because I felt scared.
Yeah.
And she said it.
Hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you around in a few days. You been all right?
Your arm is around my shoulder. I don't like that. Remove it.
Sorry, I'm just trying to be friendly. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Awesome. Well done. So, what is the hardest thing about this?
Not smiling.
Not to smile, right? When we're nervous, people laugh, they smile, right? It feels unnatural because we're being asocial. We're being what we're not trained to do in a civil society, right? So after this phase, which I can't pronounce,
Desensitization.
yeah, is isolation, right? So once they kind of desensitize you, they're going to try and isolate you, right? To get one-on-one with you. But the thing is these things go in phases, right? So if they can't get past phase 2, they won't go to phase 3. Okay, let's say they get to phase 2 and you kind of chickened out and you couldn't just muster up the strength to say, get your hand off my shoulder, and then you're regretting it, but it's too late. But then you see them and they try and get you isolated, then you're like, no way, man, I failed on phase 2, but I'm not going to fail in phase 3. I'm never going to get alone with that person, right? So then they can't succeed. So make sure you don't fail at phase 3. And if you can identify these red flags, they'll help you be more aware, right? Because it's really all about having awareness. And so this also applies in any kind of asset of our lives. It's like if we feel uncomfortable with a situation, we should be true to ourselves and express that, right? I think communicating, even if it's not in a self-defense scenario, I think if we feel uncomfortable with a certain situation, we should be, like, let's say it's one of your girlfriends and they want to do something you don't feel good about. Speak up and say, I don't feel good about doing this, and don't do it. Any points that you want to bring up?
Do you have a buddy system? It doesn't matter, if what your age is. Have a buddy system. If you can get that feeling, that vibe from your friend that they don't feel comfortable, speak up for them. Because then immediately that predator is like, oh, there's more resistance. There's more resistance. So that's just something to keep in mind. Just back your friends up.
Setting boundaries, a little bit like the name it, tame it, change it. Same thing. You want to create algorithms, and you live by algorithms, right? That's a way to really apply this to your life. It's amazing what you can do. If he crosses this line, that will I will have to react in some way or another, right? So he's approaching. Stop!
Oh, sorry, just want another time.
Okay? So you have to draw a line in the sand, and that's the if. If somebody crosses this line, right, whatever line that is that you decide, you will have to take action and do something. So in this drill, we're just going to tell them to stop. Right. Stop right there. Okay? All right.
That's nice. Stop. That's good. That's good. And one other thing I liked what you did about the last time is that you had that forward momentum to like really mean it. Like a kid's doing something and you told him no.
Stop. Stop.
Nice.
Stop.
So you guys are so good, you didn't even do the common mistake, which is to do this. I'll do both mistakes at once. Stop. Stop. I leaned back. I stepped away. So I'm telling him to stop, but I'm backing away. That's not backing up my position, right? It's not, my body is not saying what my mouth is saying. And did he believe when I said stop? No. Because I had no force behind it, there's no authority, right? So we need to have authority, but we can't be like a dog that has no bite, right? We can't just bark. So the next part of this drill is what happens if he doesn't stop? I have to have another algorithm. If he doesn't stop, I have to know what I'm going to do. So we found that if you have 21 feet of distance, you probably still have enough time to run away. But if you have less than 21 feet, your chance of running away are probably not very good anymore. So we're going to let him come nice and close for this drill. I'm going to say, stop. He doesn't stop. Boom. Then I have to take action, right? Because we have to back up what we're saying. He chose not to listen to my command, so now there has to be a consequence. Right? It's just like training your children or your pets. You don't have any consequences, they'll just keep on doing the bad behavior. But now this is a little bit of an escalation phase where you're actually being put on the spot with some random attack, right? So even though we showed the single wrist grab, what if it was 2 wrist grabs, right? What if it's 2 hands on one? What if he's grabbing you like this from behind? When it doesn't work, it's because your weight is back. It only works when your weight is forward, right? So you have to have your weight onto that side for it to work. Otherwise, his feet will just slide out. He can move his foot out of the way.
Stop.
That was awesome, actually. I've never seen anybody actually do that. They've always waited for him to grab you, and like, why not? You're just applying all the principles that we taught.
That took me off guard. That's supposed to be my job.
It's just, it's like, he wasn't even expecting that, because I wasn't expecting